Oh, wait. Let's pull these off. Did I turn this on? Hello? Uh-oh. Oh, it's on. Hello? You can hear me okay? Yes? Okay. All right. Let's do this. Okay. Homework 5 due tonight. Other important reminder is we have a midterm Friday, not tomorrow, Friday, right here, 2:40. Bring your pencils, pens if you must, yourself. If you bring an electronic device, it must be powered off, not just silent. It must be off. Okay. And today's lecture is reserved for review. So if there are no questions, we'll adjourn. No? Yes.
Clarification on homework 5 1A.
Homework 5 1A. Okay. Let me make this a bit bigger. I'll go back here. Homework 5. Okay, so you're given.
I'm listening.
Yes, I'm waiting for everyone to be ready. Are we ready? You ready? Okay. All right. So you're given combinational logic network with two flip-flops, actually two combinational logic networks, and you're not told what's inside, but you're told about the delays, or you're asked about the delays of those combinational networks. You're given very specific information about the timing behavior of those flip-flops. They have a setup time of 9 nanoseconds. That means that their inputs must be stable 9 nanoseconds before the clock edge. And they have a hold time of 4 nanoseconds, so those inputs have to be stable 9 nanoseconds before the clock edge and then remain stable 4 more nanoseconds after the clock edge. So that's a total of 13 if we count both sides of the clock. Not that we would do that, but okay. You're also told that they have a propagation time, low to high, so both directions, going up and going down, of 2 nanoseconds. So that means that we can expect the output to come out at 2 nanoseconds after the clock edge. Okay, that's sooner than the hold time. The hold time is a constraint on the input, not the output. Okay. So in the first question, you're told that the maximum delay between the D flip-flops and Z, the output, so that's the delay through this output combinational logic, is 8 nanoseconds. So it's going to take, if there's a change on these Q1 or Q0, it's going to take at most 8 nanoseconds before Z becomes stable. After Q1, okay, and Q0. So when will Q1 and Q0 be stable? After the clock edge.
So since it's changing the output,
Yeah.
we only take into account the propagation delay.
Right, so the 2 nanoseconds after the clock, we know Q1 and Q0 are there, and then 8 more nanoseconds to make it through that green cloud, total of 10. You got it? Okay. All right, so these questions are not advanced math. What they are is advanced terminology and understanding which concepts and what they mean.
Drawing a picture helps, like, a lot.
Okay.
Little timeline.
You want to talk about the others or not?
Yes, please.
Should I? Wait. Am I doing your homework?
Yes.
Wait.
The debate of my existence for
You
the last
tricked
3
me.
hours. Please. Well, number 2A, I keep iterating. I'm on my 4th iteration of the state machine for 2A. I've given it a decent attempt.
Okay. All right, here's what I'll do. We can do the one in sample exams. How's that?
Oh, fair enough, though.
So you no doubt noticed there's one here too, right? This one has different timing though. It has a setup time of 6 nanoseconds, a hold time of 4. Oh, 4, okay, 4 again, and 2. Okay, so the only thing difference, oh wait, this one has 2 propagation delays. It says that if the output's going to change, it's going to change somewhere between 2 and 4. So we don't know exactly when in there, but we know between 2 and 4, the outputs will settle. The outputs of the flip-flops will settle. Okay. So in this case, what would be the answer to the same question, A? Yeah. Why 12? Is it still 8?
Sorry, I can't read that.
Oh.
It is 19 plus, it is a propagation time to the delay of the combinational logic is 19 nanoseconds. The propagation time is at most 4 nanoseconds. So you have a guarantee about Z's validity after the maximum propagation time of 4 nanoseconds plus the combinational logic delay of 19 nanoseconds, which is 23 nanoseconds.
23, okay. So occasionally I have people write 4 plus 19 equals 24.
Mood. I would do that.
Don't do that. No calculators, by the way.
I never use calculators.
Okay.
I still get them.
All right, so that's question A. Okay. In question B, we are asked what is the maximum delay of the combinational logic between the flip-flop inputs and outputs if we wish to operate this circuit with a clock period of 30. Of the maximum delay of the combinational logic providing the flip-flop inputs if we wish to operate this circuit with a clock period of 30 nanoseconds. So we want a clock cycle of 30 nanoseconds. Okay, and we're asked, well, this is the combinational logic that provides D0 and D1. And how slow can this be?
I'll draw a little timeline and fill in the blanks.
Okay.
How I do it.
Anybody else want to? No? Or should I? No? All right, we have, okay, here comes the clock. Okay, so we want 30 nanoseconds. The clock period, time for a clock cycle is 30 nanoseconds. Okay. So, well, we have inputs, but we don't know anything about these inputs, but we do know something about Q1 and Q0 coming back through here. So, what is the constraint on this logic path in order for the flip-flops? So D1 and D0 have to be present at what time?
Just before the hold time for the flip-flop.
just before the hold time for the flip-flop? The hold time? The setup. Okay, so we have this. We have a setup time, and we're told that it is 6 nanoseconds. So D1, D0 must be stable. This is 6 nanoseconds. Okay. And D1 and D0 depend on the inputs X as well as Q1 and Q0. Let's assume X1 and X0 are also coming from flip-flops. Yeah. What? Sorry, nanoseconds. My N looks like a U. Okay. So when are so how long does it take D1 and D0 to get here after the last clock edge? Previous clock edge. Yeah. 4? Why 4? To come out of the flip-flops, right? So we know they're gonna, that's Q1 and Q0, right? So 4 nanoseconds, Q1, Q0, ready. Okay. So when Q1 and Q0 are ready, does that mean D1 and D0 are immediately ready? No. Why not? Okay. It has to travel through the logic, right? So this is the, we'll call this TL for logic delay. This is the time it takes for Q1 and Q0 to travel through that green cloud, okay? And be there at D1 and D0, but they have to be 6 nanoseconds. Okay, so now we need the following inequality to hold. We need T clock to be greater than equal to 4 nanoseconds plus TL plus 6 nanoseconds, or this is the propagation delay and this is the setup time. All right, I think I use D for this because this is a delay and these are constraints. Okay, so now again, we have math here, so this is 10 plus TL. So TL can be at most 20 nanoseconds. If TL is longer than 20 nanoseconds, you're going to need to run a slower clock or improve your logic. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right, and the last question is, well, what's the fastest that this combinational logic could be without creating a problem? And what problem could there be? I mean, generally being fast is not a problem in logic, right? But if you're too fast for the flip-flops, it is a problem. Yeah?
We need to respect the whole time.
We need to respect the whole time. Okay, so again, it doesn't matter when the last clock edge was because that's not important, but basically we need, remember we need D1, D0 stable here. This was the setup time, but we also need them to stay for the hold time. Okay, so from here to here, the D inputs have to be stable. Okay, so we can make sure that part B made sure they were there. Okay, part C is asking, how can you make sure they stay there? They don't change after the clock. Well, what could cause them to change? Well, there's this loop here, right? Because these Q1s are going to change. And when these Q1s change, it's going to make it back here and possibly affect D1. So this is a case where if your logic is too fast, you're going to have an effect on D1 after the clock that's going to violate the whole time. Okay, so what do we need to prevent that? Well, how long does it take for inputs to, what's the least amount of time it could take for the inputs to arrive back, for changes in Q1 and Q0 to arrive back at the D inputs? Well, we know that there's a propagation delay here, right? That after the clock edge, the Q1 and Q0 will change a certain amount of time after the clock edge, and then they will travel through the logic. Again, that's TL. So what we need is the time by which these output could change, the earliest time at which these outputs could change, plus the delay through the logic. We need that to be greater than the whole time. We need this to be out here. We need the logic to be slow enough that it delays those Q1s from affecting the Ds too early. Okay? So what are we told? We're told the hold time is 4, right? 4 nanoseconds. We're asked to figure out how small TL could be. Now, for the propagation delay, we have 2 numbers. We're told it's between 2 and 4. So is it the earliest or latest time that can cause a problem? The earliest. So we would want to use the 2 here. So this tells us that our logic better delay those Qs by at least 2 nanoseconds. Okay? Yes. All right. Any questions on that? No. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Reading emoji number 2 on the homework. Or an equivalent question on the midterm review, because I know you have told us you will not be doing the homework for us.
No, I will not be doing the homework for you. So number 2, you're basically asked to come up with state diagrams for 3 different. Okay, only the state diagram. Don't build the circuit.
But you have to draw the state diagrams and minimize
Yeah,
it.
make sure it's minimized after you draw it.
You also need a transition table.
No.
You can just write the groups like straight up.
Sure. There's no diff. Well, you can make a transition table if you want.
Wouldn't that be harder than not drawing a transition table though?
It's up to you. Okay. You want to do? Gee, oh my! Look what I found. I always get asked about these, so I came in, even though no one asked about it, I came prepared. Okay. All right, so we're asked to come up with a state diagram. In this particular one, it doesn't care whether we minimize it or not, but we can if you want. Okay, but the important thing is understanding what it is we're supposed to do, or what the state machine is supposed to do. 1 synchronous input, 1 output. Okay, so basically it looks like this, right? 1 input, clock, 1 output. We can label them, though that's not necessary. Okay. The output should be 0 until after. Oh my goodness, there's that word after. 3 inputs are 1, not necessarily consecutive. So those ones could be separated by zeros. But once we see 3 ones, okay, the output will be 1 until there are 3 consecutive zeros. Okay, it then goes low again until the next 3 ones and so on. Okay, so let's see. So here's our input. So this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, and there goes our output. And now we're looking for 3 consecutive zeros, which happens here, right? So we're 1 until after those 3 consecutive zeros. Okay, now we have, again, 3 ones, so we go high. And the next 3 zeros, consecutive zeros, are here. Okay, so we go low again. All right? So that's what we have to build a state machine for. We have to look for 3 ones, and then look for 3 consecutive zeros. Okay, so what's my first state? I know.
No one spotted yet.
Okay, I'll go with chill. I like chill. All right, so what should we do in chill? Yes.
Stay at itself when you don't spot a 1, and maybe go to a state that has seen 1, 1, when you see a 1.
Seen a 1. Okay.
And then the same behavior on scene a 1. It stays on itself when you see 0.
Okay, so if I see zeros, I've still seen 1, 1, right? I'm not going to forget that I saw that one. I don't have to start over. These ones don't have to be consecutive. They could have zeros in between. So if I see another one, I do the same thing. Seen 2 ones.
And that has the same behavior as well. That is where you go high.
Seen 3 ones. Okay, so far I'm going to output 0. This looks like a Moore machine, right? Because the output only changes after the input that it's looking for. Okay, and then here I've seen the so if I'm sitting, so okay, so I'm sitting in this state here. The input's 1, so I go to a state now where I'm going to output a 1.
So after just means more machine.
Pretty much, yes, because your output's going to react after the clock, not on the same clock edge as that input. Okay. All right. So we've seen 3 ones. Now what? Anybody? Yes.
We have a very similar set of 3 states for scene and 0, scene 2 zeros, except instead of resetting to themselves, they all reset back to scene 3 ones.
Okay. So now I'm looking for 3 consecutive zeros. Okay. Scene. Let's call this 1Z. Okay. And then if I got a 0 again, I would be at 2Z. Okay. But here, if I get a 1, I have to start over. I can't just stay put. So I'm going to go back to here. Okay, so now I've seen 2 zeros and the input's 0, so it's going to be my third 0. Where should I go? 3 zeros? Okay. Oh, I should probably keep outputting 1 here, right? Because I haven't seen 3 zeros yet. But here I'm going to output the 0 again. Okay. Yes.
It needs to change when you when you at the same clock edge where you get that third 0. So would you need to also make the output 0?
No, it didn't change. See that?
Oh, okay.
Right? Not till you actually clocked in this 0. Right? This sample input is showing you the values of the input and output at the same clock edge.
So if you wanted it to transition like 1 before that, then could you?
Then I would, yeah, but that would be a different machine. That would not be the right answer for this problem.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to.
Right, yes, but that's what you do, yes. Yes?
Did you have the 0 input, the 0 edge from 2Z go to chill?
What do you think? Should we go to chill? Well, all right, let's finish this one since you made me write this one. What should I do if I get a 1 here?
If you get a 1, you go to CNO 1.
Okay. CNO 1. Okay, how about a 0?
Go to chill.
Okay.
The exact same inputs.
Okay, so you may notice that these two are equivalent, and the way you'd see they are equivalent is G. First of all, they have the same output. That's important. Can't be equivalent if we have different outputs. Second of all, they go to the same places. They both go to Cine 1 with a 1, and they both go to chill with a 0. Okay. So we could have actually gone back to chill instead. We don't really need this state. We could have just gone back to chill. Okay. Since it didn't ask us to minimize, either answer would be okay. Yes.
So would minimize mean just mean that you're taking away like any unnecessary state?
Yeah. If we minimize this either this one or this one would go away, or they would merge, right? We would realize, hey, these are the same. Now all the others are going to stay. Okay. Are we done with this one? Going.
I feel happy about the resolution of that.
Okay. All right. Any more questions? Yes. Number 4 on the homework. Let me think of something. We did the BCD, right? Okay. Let's see, what shall we do? Didn't I do the equations? Okay, so that would have been Friday, right? Okay. I thought we did do the equations. Didn't we work this out? We used the activation table. And we did something even more complicated. We talked about making an up-down BCD counter. Right? So what we did is we looked at the present state of the counter and what we wanted to happen. Okay, so for your superstitious counters, you don't ever want to be in 6 or 13, and something special is going to happen at 5 and 12. All the other states will behave just fine. The standard binary counter will work just fine, but when you're at those 4 states, you've got to intervene. You've got to make it go from 5 to 7. And the only way you're going to do that is by loading, because it doesn't go from 5 to 7 on its own. And you've got to make it go from 12 to 14. Yes?
What's the bad superstition about 6?
I don't know.
Oh,
Is there something about 6?
I've heard about 4.
4? Okay.
That it's before 7? I don't know.
I have no idea. Okay. It could have been any number, right? All right. So what we need to do here is figure out when to load and when to increment. Okay. So you're going to want to make a table. Let's see. All right. So let's do a counter that. Let's see. This one is just going to. It's going to load. And it's going to increment, and all right, we'll just do a 3-bit counter, and we're going to skip 3. Right? It's going to go 0, 1, 2, 4. It's not like 3. Actually. Should we just make it count in powers of 2? I guess 0 is not a power of 2. All right, never mind. All right, we'll skip 3. 5, 6, 7, etc.
It's like you say 4, you're out the door, but 3 in the counter.
All right, so we want it not to go directly from 2 to 4 when you're counting, and if it ever finds itself in 3, it should vamoose and go immediately to 4. Okay. All right. So let's look at the different things that we want to have happen. So if we are in 0, 0, 1, or 4 to 7, let's see. And let's see. We have 2 inputs, inc and load, right? Excuse me. If they're both 0, so if n is one of these states and inc and load are both 0, we want to stay put. We don't want to move at all. If inc is 1 and load is 0, then we should go to n plus 1. Right? For all of these states, neither will be 3, right? We're not going to go to 3. And if we are at don't care 1, which means that the load has priority. Load has priority. So if you make both load and inc high, this will just load. It'll ignore the inc. Oh, we probably need a D in here, now that I think about it. Okay, load has priority. Okay, in this case, we want to go to DN. We're just going to load to dn. Right? So here we're giving all the possible values for the two controls here. And for our skip 3 counter. All right. Okay, so we left out 2 states, right? So what should happen when we are at 2? If we're at 2 and we're not loading or incrementing, I can stay put. 2 is just fine. If I am counting, then I need to go to 4. Do not want to go to 3. And if I'm loading, I'm just going to load. Okay. If I'm at 3, and what should happen? Yeah.
No matter what, it should take us out of 3.
Okay, where do you want it to go?
If it doesn't specify, just go out.
Okay, let's just go to 4. That makes sense. Then we know we won't be back to 3 for at least another 7 counts. Since we're trying to avoid 3. Okay. All right, if we're incrementing, fine, n plus 1, right? No problem. We can go from 3 to 4. Or we can load 4, either way. That's 2 different ways to get to 4 if we're at 3. Yes?
Why do we write, is there a specific notation reason why we write n plus 1 in the n equals 3 as opposed to 4?
No.
I'm wondering if that makes, like, the later steps of the problem easier.
Well, I left out an option, which was just to
Right, 4. Okay.
load 4. Yes.
So is n plus 1 like,
Whatever n is, add 1.
okay.
So and we're in it, when we are in any of these states, we will just increment. So whatever n is, we'll add 1. Mod 8, right? Okay, again, we will load. Okay, now there's one little thing. Suppose somebody tries to load a 3. Should we let them load a 3 into this counter? No. Okay, so I should write not equal to 3 here. And
What happens if load is 1 and dn is 3?
we will change it into something else.
0 or 4?
You know, if you have user instructions on a device and somebody doesn't follow the instructions, you can do pretty much what you want. Just as long as it's not
So I guess it depends
going
on
to injure us in any way. All right. Okay, so we kind of know what we want to have happen in all these states. Basically, we know it's okay for it just to count fine when we are not in 2 or 3. When we are at 2, we need to make sure it doesn't go to 3. So if it counts, we're going to instead go to 4. So we're going to need to do something here. We're going to need to load the 4, not just count. Yeah?
When n equals 3 and you load, can you just go straight to 4 and not set d and not equal? Because when you do d in,
Yes, then that doesn't matter, right?
that could be like a 2 or a 6.
There are options here, yes. But pretty much what I'm going to do here, right, here's our standard, this is our skip 3 counter, right, that we want to build. And here's our binary count 3 that we're going to use. It's got a clock, it's got dn, it's got its own load, and it's got its own inc. All right, and then it's got a 3-bit output, right? And TC. Now, in this case, I don't have to change the TC. The TC is still high at 7, so that's okay. That's not going to change. All right, so now I have to decide what to do here. Okay, so this is the clock, which of course can only be connected to the clock. Okay, so in this table, what do I want to do? Maybe I'll just use a different color. Purple, okay. So I need a new ink and a new load and a new DN. Okay, so if I have a DN coming in here, basically whatever I want to load, I can just connect, except if this happens to be 3. If it happens to be 3, then I want to change it to 4. So I need logic that will turn a 3 into a 4. Yes?
I was thinking, because I may or may not be doing number 4 on the homework along to this, an easy way to do it would be if instead of defaulting to 4, when you D in an incorrect number, you default to 0. You could just reductive and, or like you could just use like a reductive and or something similar on the D in.
Well, that only gets you 1 bit.
And then duplicate it out like you would in the bottom.
Okay, but I want to leave it alone if it's not.
I see.
Right? I only want to change 3 to 4. If we're loading something else. Yes?
Can we just use a multiplexer?
A multiplexer would work great too.
So like if load was on, right, and we see if it's a 3, then we could switch it to become the input of 4 instead of a 3.
Oh, you're talking me into it. Okay. That certainly would be easier. Okay. All right, let's use a multiplexer. Okay, so basically, okay, so if this is 3, I want to change it to 4. Do I ever want to load anything else? I want to load a 4, right? So I also want to be able to load the 4 in this case. Okay, so over here I'm going to put this on the 0, and I'm going to put 4 on the 1. Okay, so I need a signal here called load 4. Okay, and load 4 is basically dn equal 3, or inc and b equal 2. Is that right? So I can write this out as, let's see, dn2 bar, dn1, dn0, or inc b2 bar and b1 bar, oh, wait, no, and b0 bar. I don't want a bar on there. Okay, so that's my logic for load 4. So we will load 4 instead of dn. Okay, so this is a 3-bit. These are all 3 bits. we will load 4 when either dn is 3, so we will not let you load 3, or if you will also select 4 if you happen to be at inc and you want to increment, you happen to be at 2 and you want to increment. So we'll prevent you from going from 2 to 3 by loading 4. Okay, so now the question is, when do I need to actually load? Okay, so this guy has a load input, right? And I have to make new load. All right, well, new load seems like if you want to load the skip counter, you should be able to load. But there's one more case where you want to load, and that's when you are dn equals, I think that's load 4, right? So this is going to be an OR. So you're going to get load and load 4. So basically what we're doing is we're taking the counter here, this 3-bit binary counter, and whenever it's either at 3 or about to count to 3, instead we will force it to load, and we'll force it to load a 4. Okay, and then new inc. Now we can take advantage of the fact that we were told, if we know the fact that inc has priority, then we can just connect inc to new inc. If we're not told that, then probably what we want to do is make sure that when we do a load 4, we're not also incrementing the counter. And if that's the case, then that's pretty simple to do. We'll just say, okay, if we're loading 4, you may not increment. But again, if we happen to know that that load has priority, then we don't need this. We can just connect it directly, because it won't have any effect. Okay. All right. Yes?
Is it only load 4 that has priority, or is it also load?
Well, so it's a question of what does this binary counter do if both inc and load are high? If we know that in that case it'll load, right, then that's fine. You're saying that I wanted to give load priority? Okay, if I want to establish that load has priority, then yeah, I would do that. But again, if I know that this one has priority, I don't need to. But if this one didn't and I wanted to make one that did, then yes, I would make this load instead of load 4. Yeah?
How would you write the equation for new dn?
For new dn? Oh. Okay. So new dn 2 in terms of load 4. Well, new dn is equal to load 4 times 1, because 1 is the highest bit in 4, right? Plus not load 4 dn 2, right? And then I can simplify this. Becomes load 4, right? So this all simplifies to load 4 plus dn2. Right? This is which law? What?
Moore's law?
Which Boolean identity is this? Yeah.
Absorption.
Very close. It's simplification. Right? Absorption is A plus AB is A. Simplification is A plus A bar. B is A plus B. Okay, this is the one we have. Okay, you want me to do the others? It'll be the same thing, only I'm going to get a 0. And because I have a 0, the whole term's going to go away. So new dn1 will actually end up being not load 4 and dn1. So basically, if load 4 is high, it'll force it to 0. And new dn0 is, again, load, not load 4, dn0. Okay. Yes.
So on the homework problem, do we have to write out all of these equations as like logic gates in that big drawing at the top? Or can we have, say, like, you have a wire connected to load 4, and then at the bottom we have logic written out for those really complicated statements?
So you need to give expressions for new load, new inc, and new dn.
Oh, so you don't have to draw the whole picture.
No,
Oh, excellent. Okay.
you want these equations. Okay. You can if you want, but it's not required.
And do they need to be simplified?
Of course.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, any other questions? No other questions. Everybody, we have 10 minutes left.
You think that's enough time to start lecture?
Don't try me.
You weren't threatening us last time with starting lecture.
Yes,
Are we allowed to use load 4 as like a...
good question. Am I cheating here by using load 4? Well,
can we do that instead of having to write it like...
no, you probably, this problem asks you to do it in terms of the original inputs, right? So technically I'm not done. Okay, so what would load 4 be, right? We said load 4 is the original load. Okay, actually you wrote it out here, right? Yeah,